everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Dear Santa, a podcast straight from the North Pole, or at least close enough. I'm your host, Liz Kepner, and today I have the incredible honor of sitting down with the one and only real deal sleigh riding, list checking, cookie loving Santa Claus himself. That's right, Santa's here and he's launching his very own podcast where he'll be chatting with guests about their favorite holiday memories, traditions, mishaps, and all things Christmas. But before he takes over the mic full time, I get to ask him the questions. So grab a mug of hot cocoa, get cozy, and enjoy this special sneak peek into the jolliest podcast in town. Let's get started. Santa, welcome to Dear Santa.
Hi, Liz. It's so good to be here. Thank you for doing this today. I really appreciate it.
It's so exciting, Santa. Why did you decide to start a podcast? Isn't your schedule, I don't know, a little busy?
Well, I mean, we are busy at the North Pole, always busy making toys, checking lists, eating cookies, all the really great stuff in life. But I'll tell you what, the elves, for years and years, when they were building toys, they were listening to Christmas songs and carols and all that. But lately, they've been listening to podcasts. Not the true crime ones, mind you, but a lot of the funny ones and storytelling ones. And that's where Mrs. Claus was saying to me, Santa, you want to do a podcast. People want to hear from you. They want to tell their stories to you. And the other thing, Liz, is Christmas is a time of joy. And at the North Pole, we're lucky. We have Christmas every day. But the world right now seems like it needs a little Christmas. It needs a little more joy. And a lot of that joy, I think, comes from stories that people tell about their Christmas memories. And for those two reasons, we're going to give this a shot and see how it works out.
Mrs. Claus, always with the good ideas,
She's
right?
amazing. She is the backbone of the North Pole. I may be the face and belly of Christmas, but she and my head elf Millie, they really make the wheels turn. So we're lucky that I've got them both in my life.
So, what can listeners expect from this show? Will they hear from reindeer? Will they hear from elves or toy testers?
Probably not reindeer and elves. The elves are a little bit shy. There's two kinds of elves. There's scout elves, which are the elves that come to people's homes and keep an eye on the kids during the holidays. And then there's the toy building elves, who are very shy. They've never seen a human. They've never talked to a human. So I don't think we'll be talking to elves. I'm a little worried the scout elves, the elf on the shelves, they get into a little bit of mischief, and I'm not sure how they do on a podcast. So we'll keep them out. Again, the toy building elves, very shy. They don't want to be on it. And the reindeer, they're just too busy training and getting ready for Christmas. So what I'd rather do is talk directly to humans, talk directly to people and children and adults and grandparents about their Christmas memories. People know a lot about the North Pole, and they read stories about Santa and see movies about Santa. What I want to do is hear from people. What are their most magical memories of Christmas? What warms their heart? What traditions do they hand down? So that's what we're gonna do. I've got some friends in a small city in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and they run a Christmas shop which just happens to be also called Dear Santa. And I was down visiting them a few weeks ago. It's my favorite city because it's the Christmas city, obviously. But I was down a few weeks ago, and what they told me is they constantly hear stories from their guests. When people come in, they'll see an ornament and remember my grandmother gave me one of those, or they'll see a ceramic tree and remember that their aunt made one in ceramics class in 1976. That's what I want to hear about. That warms my heart and I think makes everybody feel good and gets their memories working about what was special to them about Christmas.
Well, you've really answered my next question. I was going to say, you've been bringing joy to people for centuries, and you really believe the Christmas stories and traditions still matter today, right?
Absolutely, they do. I've got my own Christmas stories, and they are the thing that keeps families going. Sometimes they're the thing that when they sit around the table Christmas Eve enjoying a meal, they'll remember grandma who did this one time, or they'll think about a funny story. I mean, Christmas has some amazing stories. It's do you have to sit at the top of the stairs before you come down Christmas morning until mom and dad have their coffee? What did you have for dinner Christmas Eve the night before? Is that the same thing every year? I know one family, I know their mom makes cinnamon buns every Christmas morning and the house smells like cinnamon. There's also a lot of funny stories. I mean, cats. The number of people that I know that have had a cat take down a Christmas tree is incredible. I think that actually happened to you, right, Liz, and your
Yes.
father. I remember that. I
Yes.
remember that.
Yes, and hopefully we'll hear from my father because we had our cat Bob knocked over our Christmas tree twice.
I remember. I
Twice.
remember that year that that happened. But so yeah, just the stories are wonderful. I can't wait to hear them. Like I said, I've got my own Christmas stories. The first year that Mrs. Claus and I were married, she gave me my very first snow globe as our first Christmas present. And every year since, she's given me a snow globe. And we have a whole special wing for all the snow globes she's given me over the years. And so even Santa has his own Christmas stories.
I love and I cannot wait to hear these stories from everyone.
And the thing is, Liz, I have great Christmas memories, but there are also some people that maybe don't have the best Christmas memories. We're going to talk about that as well and try to find out how we can try to help those people have a better Christmas time of year. So, but ultimately, it's really the good Christmas stories to try to get them out there to help the world remember their magical times and hopefully warm their hearts because that's what we need right now. We need a lot of goodness in this world and we need people to talk about the good things in life.
And I was going to say, Santa, if you could deliver one message to the world, what would it be?
I would say the message is be kind. Be kind to each other. We need a little more kindness in the world. Be kind, be patient, be thankful. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. It doesn't cost anything to say thank you to somebody. So that's the message that I give to little ones as well as older people if they come and visit with Santa and sit on my knee and talk about what their wishes are for Christmas. My only thing that I say to them is don't forget to be kind to your friends and family and anyone walking down the street. It doesn't cost a dime to be kind.
Perfect advice. Finally, just between us, how do you keep that beard so white and fluffy?
Oh, Liz, it's a lot of hard work. I'll tell you what. It's product. It's having a great barbershop at the North Pole. The elves do an amazing job keeping it shaped. Wonderful products that they use. I don't know if you can get them down here in the United States where you're at, but at the North Pole, it's a lot of really fresh lake water that we use, and again a lot of other wonderful products. I only really cut it like once a year right after Christmas, but Mrs. Claus makes me brush it 2 or 3 times a day. She oftentimes, I'm a little embarrassed to say, will find some cookie remnants, and that's how she catches me if I've been sneaking too many cookies. So,
Right.
but thank you. Hopefully, you'll never have to worry about how to keep your beard, Liz, because I don't, you don't want that. Trust me.
Uh, Thank you. Yes, hopefully I won't. Oh, Santa Claus, we cannot wait for your podcast. Thank you so much for taking out time out of your schedule to talk with us.
Well, thank you, Liz, and I also want to thank. We have a helper elf, Andrew, who is really taking charge of all the tech work here and making this magic happen. So I can't thank you and Andrew enough for working with me, for giving advice. You guys are both on the nice list for sure, and I really appreciate
Ooh.
everything you do. And I'm just excited to get this started. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun.
All right. Well, Santa, starting next episode, you'll be in the host seat hearing stories from guests, some funny ones, heartfelt, nostalgic, maybe even a little chaotic, just like the holidays themselves. And if you've got a favorite Christmas memory, tradition, or tale you'd like to share, Santa wants to hear from you. Until then, be kind, Mary. Remember, Santa, you're always listening, right?
Yes, ma'am, I am.